You know, I don't get enough credit for being right, and I hate to toot my own horn, but toot toot, bitches. Again, this is something that I always have kind of talked about, and I mentioned this multiple times, and that's the fact that, you know what? Let's just be real here. When it comes to video games, especially smaller video games, indies, those double A's and stuff like that, it all ends up everywhere. And this isn't just an Xbox thing. It happens with PlayStation as well. You know, I mean, what was it? Fall Guys was like a launch thing, and then you knew that was going everywhere. These games just go everywhere. These are such small developers that, quite honestly, you know, we see it to where these developers can only develop for one platform at a time, and that makes sense. You know, nobody that's gonna go out there and be able to develop for multiple platforms that only has, you know, 10 developers. It just isn't going to work. They're probably going to, you know, hold off on it and hold back on it. And that makes all the sense in the world for them to go out there and actually do that. Now, when it comes to some of these other situations, that's a little bit more complicated. And we don't really know how long these things stay exclusive. And then I think with like the pandemic, there's a little bit of uncertainty there or whatever. But it was like the Medium, for instance. Well, listen, who didn't know that game was going to PlayStation at some point in time? I mean, I knew it. Obviously, there were some Xbox fanboys who didn't know it. But at the same time, we kind of look around and we go, okay, so what's the deal here in terms of, you know, what's going to happen with the future of something like this? It didn't make sense. Like, that game was never going to stay exclusive to Xbox. Why would it? They don't owe Xbox anything. You know, and it's the same thing with some of these other games. The Ascent, that game's going to come to PlayStation. You know, Xbox fans bragged about that. A 68 rated Metacritic game, mind you. They actually talked up this game. You know, a 68 rated Metacritic game. I can't believe it. But yeah, you know, it's always interesting to see how these things kind of come about and how people kind of react when it goes the other way. And, you know, even that Oddworld game, I never hyped that game. Kena, yes, that's a good game, but that's going to go on Xbox at some point. This is just the way things are, so it doesn't really make sense to hype these things as exclusive, especially given the fact that, you know, they all end up everywhere. Now we have another instance of that coming to fruition. And I told you. So anyway, let's get started. What's up, everybody? It's me, Crapgamer with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you guys very, very much. I really do appreciate it. You guys have been amazing. All I ask is for a simple like. That really does go a long way in these parts, and it would mean a lot to me. So thank you guys very much. Now, with that being said, there's a game, a little indie game called Death's Door, and again, it's an indie game, and the fact that it's heavily inspired by classic Zelda games, it means that there's going to be a lot of demand for it. It launched as a Xbox/PC timed exclusive, and you know, they keep talking about you know, different things. Now, speaking on this, David Fenn, one half of the two-man team who did this, said that the game's success had met their wildest expectations, and he said nothing could have gone better according to their, you know, the sales and stuff like that. And the other person, Mark Foster, went on to remark that Death's Door being Xbox console exclusive was a plan from the get-go, since there are only two people, and commented on its success despite the fact that it's not available via Xbox Game Pass. He says that was always the plan from the beginning. It seems like people are actually willing to buy a game in 2021, which is a nice surprise. So the game is doing well, but when asked about possibly doing like a PlayStation 5 version or a Nintendo Switch version, they said that they were focused, quote unquote, on getting the Xbox version out there. And, you know, I think that that's something that should really kind of be, you know, thought of and looked at as, okay, well, that's what they all say, right? So it's already kind of been rumored around that, you know, that the game was going to come to PlayStation and probably Switch. You know, and I feel like this is something that really a lot of people would probably be excited for. It doesn't really excite me. If I wanted the game, I could have got the game, but for me personally, this isn't my type of game. But I know there are people on PlayStation who have been talking about this and saying, hey, they would really, really, really love to go out there and be able to play this game on their preferred platform. And people that go, oh, well, you just want this to come to PlayStation or whatever. Yeah, I mean, listen, when you get exclusives, whether they're big, small, or whatever, even timed exclusive, it's a huge part of the industry. It's a huge part of business. And I think it's very prudent to actually go out there and have that, so that fans have something to kind of look to and go, oh, okay, well, that's a cool thing to get or whatever. Not that this is particularly that, because when it's all said and done, I don't know how many people actually bought this game, but I would probably imagine that it's, you know, 1 million or less, which isn't like significant when you think about the number of people that are out there in terms of owning a platform to actually be able to buy this game. And, you know, obviously with the hundreds of millions of PCs in the world, and you know, the situation with you know, the Xboxes and how many Xboxes there are, even though there's unconfirmed reports. Let's just say that there's 47 million between Series X, S, and Xbox Ones in the wild. So you know, yeah, I just think that that's not a huge number, right? Like, I don't know how else to put it. So it is pretty funny that they kind of took a shot at Game Pass and mentioned that people are buying games. You know, who knows? I mean, if Game Pass was such a great thing, then why does it seem like they weren't really interested? I think that's probably the thing that I would have to bring up and say, it seems like they kind of mocked Game Pass a little bit. And, you know, again, that's I think that's perfectly fine. You know, I think that what they are able to kind of accomplish without putting it in there is probably much better than what they would have done if they had put it in there. So with that being said, you know, what do you guys think? I mean, are you interested in playing this game on PlayStation, maybe on Switch, you know, wherever your kind of stuff may lie? It's just going to be an interesting time nonetheless. I think it's going to be one of those things where I guess time tells what's going to happen. But again, don't get too pissed off when this comes to PlayStation or wherever. And if you're a PlayStation person, don't get pissed off when Kena or whatever goes to Xbox, because that stuff's bound to happen as well. This stuff happens. Like I said, this is just like these smaller developers do not have the manpower to go out there and, you know, go and kind of talk about what's going on with this, you know what I mean? Like, it's just how it goes. You know, these aren't big AAA developers. So when I say they go everywhere, the Scorns and the Stalker 2s, all these double A's, they end up everywhere. The Ascent, the Medium, you know, Oddworld, Fall Guys, or whatever. They end up everywhere, literally. And, you know, you can take that to the bank. You know, a lot of people act like I'm wrong, but this instance is 100% correct, where they do, and they end up everywhere. And that's probably the way it should be for these small developers trying to earn a buck by putting out their games. And I think that that's crucial to the video game industry as a whole. So yeah, I'd like to see that. You know, yes, I get why it's stuff as exclusive for a little bit of time, especially these type of games, but it is nice to see that other people is going to be able to play it long term. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up, Crap Gamer out.